Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome, welcome. I am so happy to have you guys back with us in another episode of Coffee Talk with Mimi. Tell me now, did you enjoy the first one? Did you enjoy the snippet? I actually think you did because I was reading all the comments, I was looking at all my DMs. You guys were awesome. Thank you so much, first of all, for the support, for watching, for leaving a little comment. I really, really appreciate it. And I had a chance to read it. I had a chance to write you guys back. So thank you again for the support. I am happy to be back. And then we're back at it again today. We have so much to unfold. We have so much to talk about. Listen, we're gonna have a good time today. So stay tuned, okay? Stay tuned for what we have coming for you. We have the amazing Nickie. She is going to be sitting over there, okay? We don't have space for her here. So we do have a beautiful area. So when we have our guests that are going to be joining us, so they can sit. So stay tuned. We have more coming. Okay, y'all. So before we have our special guest that's going to be joining us, let's talk really quickly. The summer is over. I felt like just the other day, my kids were like done with school. It was June, early June. And then now it's already August and they're back to school. It felt like the year went from January to August to me. I don't know what happened in between. Of course, inflation happened. We already know that. But besides that, I don't know. Summer just came in and just left right out. And I don't know about you if you enjoyed your summer, but I absolutely did. I had an amazing time with my family. I had a great time with my kids. And we're going to talk a little bit about that, by the way, because I do have a few more things I want to share with you about the summer. But before we do that, let's also talk about back to school, because right now the kids are back to school. Last week or this week was the first week they started going back to school. Broward was the first county that opened first, and then we had Dade County afterwards. I want to know your experience. How was it? Because I know that the little ones, whether they are going to a new school or they are going to meet a new teacher with new grades and new friends, I want to know how it was for you, like how the experience was, because I know for me and my kids, they were telling me how the first day, of course, as a kid, they could not sleep. Oh my God. Oh, mommy, I am so nervous. I don't know what to expect. They were excited and nervous at the same time. But overall, it was a great first week. My firstborn, of course, he is moving on to fourth grade, and my secondborn, he is in the first grade. Glory to God for that. And they had stories to tell. And you already know how they made new friends. They have new teachers. And it was just, listen, the whole week, my ears were just going and going and going with those conversations, okay? And one of the things I also want to remind you guys, although we are all excited about our kids going back to school, I want you parents to take at least, it doesn't matter, like 2 minutes of your time, honestly. Speak to your kids. Speak to them about bullying. Speak to them about, like listening to the teachers. Speak to them about the importance of knowing who they are as kids, whether it doesn't even matter, like background wise, color wise, just have a conversation with them, because we are seeing, first of all, too many kids that are being, abused. We are seeing too many kids that are coming to school, they are not looking their best because they may not have it back home. So talk to them about the importance of not mocking other kids, of not, just making fun of other kids, of being kind. It is very important, because I always say that growing up, my parents always used to tell me that like education, it starts at home. So I want you guys to be the first teacher that those kids actually have, and then the teachers can continue and do the rest as far as the books. So every morning, talk to your kids. Do not hesitate on having that conversation with them. Pray over your kids' parents, okay? I don't know what your beliefs are, but if you are the one who believes in the Almighty, to each its own, but pray over those kids. I am telling you, it is so important, to just Tell them words of affirmations. You have no idea how that helps them. It helps boost their self-esteem. Give them words of affirmation. If you don't even, believe in prayer, just that, it makes such a big difference. Like, it makes them feel like, oh my God, I can do all things. I can do it. Even when in doubt, like at school, when in doubt, they are gonna remember those words that you actually shared with them, that you had them repeat over and over and over again. So be sure to talk to your kids. Do not be scared to have certain conversations with them. I would rather you be the parent that you need to be to have those conversations with the kids versus like the teachers having to call you and saying that your child is not behaving. So please be that parent. Talk to your kid. If you have to be an auntie to those kids, be that auntie. If you have to be that cousin, be that cousin to those kids. All I know is with the way that this world is going, our kids need someone they can look up to. So be that person that they can look up to. So parents, we have homework to do. So get to it. If you haven't started yet, it's not too late. Get started. School is back again tomorrow. I was going to say on Monday. I forgot today's Sunday, y'all. Like, that's what I'm saying. Come in and out. Monday, Sunday. You see? So go talk to the kids. Have a conversation with them. Okay, y'all. So you remember how before I started talking about school, we talked about the summer. And, I was saying, I hope you guys had such a good summer, which I did. Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys in case if some of you do not follow me, I had an amazing summer. One of the reasons why is because I hosted my first women's brunch in New York, y'all. Yes, my first women's brunch in New York. If you know me, if you know the things that I do, bringing women together is something that is it's personal to me. It's special to me. I just feel like it's so much that we can do together if we all come together, if we all network, if we all mingle, if we all get to know each other. And if you guys notice, like right now, there's a survey as I was reading somewhere that Black women's businesses are like the most grown businesses in America right now. So I want you guys to understand the power that us Black women, we have as a community, and especially when we come together. So I hosted the first brunch in New York City, and honestly, I was nervous. When I tell you I was nervous, I was nervous. I did not know what to expect, but let me tell y'all, New York came out. Like New York showed out. I'm sorry. I cannot stop talking about it. I will be sure to share like probably a small clip of the brunch if you didn't have a chance to see it, so you guys can see it. It was the energy that was in the room. It was the speakers, y'all, that showed up, like that came. It was like I was in lust of words. Like I just couldn't say nothing. Even now talking about it and thinking about it, it was just like, wow, I did that. But it wasn't just me who did that. God did that. And it wasn't even God. It was the people that God put around me. So basically, we all did that. Do you see the steps? It's like when you're doing something, I want you guys to understand there's always a purpose. There's always a greater purpose behind everything that you do. Never think that whatever you're doing is something that's like small, or you don't know, if it's going to succeed. You don't know what's going to happen. Always put in the back of your head that somebody else is watching, that somehow, somewhere you're changing somebody's life. Be intentional about what it is that you are doing. Quick story. I'm going to tell you how important it is to be intentional, right? After I did the brunch, actually last week, I spoke to a friend of mine. She used to live in South Florida, and I posted that testimony on social media. And now she lives in Texas. And as I was speaking with her, I told, she was telling me how she had such a wonderful time at the brunch. Oh my God, she's so happy that she came. And as the speakers were speaking, she took like a few notes. And she is a business owner herself, and she found herself in a situation where she wasn't really sure what to do. But per the conversations that we had with the speakers at the brunch and the notes that she also took from the brunch as well, it really helped her, to decide on what decision to make, to know exactly what to do in the situation that she was in. And she could not stop telling me, thank you so much, Mimi. Like what you're doing is very positive. Do not stop. Don't give up on it. That's why I said, guys, be intentional about everything that you do. You don't understand. It might be changing like several people's lives. You have no idea how you're changing somebody's life. And let me tell you one thing. Stop waiting for people to tell you how you're, changing their lives, or how you're, whatever it is that you're doing to them. Because not everyone is going to tell you. You might find one person, you might find two, but not everyone is going to tell you how what you're doing is actually creating a positive impact in their life. But just know that whatever you're doing, not only to be intentional about it, to keep going, because there's always somebody watching. So again, I can't stop saying thank you to New York City for the support. Thank you for everyone who came out, who showed out. Listen, Miami, I love y'all, but the energy in New York, listen, next brunch, I need you guys to do, if they give me 100, y'all need to do 200, y'all. Because listen, that's a competition right there with New York, okay? They didn't come to play. So I need Miami next year to show up and show out. So thank you again, New York. Remember what I said. Be intentional about everything that you do. And don't be afraid to take a big step, guys. Never, ever be afraid. Like if God put the anointing in you, if God actually can tell you, hey, go for it, that's because he already has a plan. Never be afraid to take that big step. So I wanted to make sure I shared that with y'all because I had such a good time again. So stay tuned, y'all. Stay tuned. Nickie is coming. She's coming. So we have way more on the way for you. All right, guys, we are back. And as promised, we have Miss Nickie in the house with us. Miss Nickie from Curls Dynasty. Miss Nickie, aka Miss the Boss. Okay? Oh. Okay. And that's another woman doing something great, doing something positive. I am happy to have her here. Oh. I'm happy to sit down with you. Hi, Nickie.
Hi, Mimi. Thank you.
You're not going to be shy now. We're not going to be shy,
Absolutely
right?
not. But it's like the introductions always get me a little bit because I was like, oh. Okay.
Girl, listen, own it. Own it all. It's your title. It's who you are. It's what you build. So make sure you own it all. So talk to us. Who is Nickie? Tell us a little bit about yourself for the people who do not know who she is, her background. Tell us who you are.
A little bit. I got a lot of it.
But we're ready. We're ready for it all, okay? We're going to mix everything. So we're ready. Go ahead.
First of all, thank you for having me. And this is amazing. It's my first time here.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. So let's see. Where can I start? Who Nickie is. First of all, I always say that I identify as limitless.
Okay.
And that is because, coming from a humble background, humble beginnings, I always knew that I was meant for something great, even though as a child I did not know what that was. But I always knew inside of me that I was meant to do great things. So that is my thing now. When I go somewhere, I say I identify as limitless because I do believe that anything and everything is possible with Christ who strengthens me. Mm-hmm. Nickie is a believer, Jesus all the way. Nickie is a mother.
Team Jesus, okay?
Yes. I have 2 sons. Yes.
I thought you had one.
I have 2
See,
sons.
again, I'm learning something else about her that I did not know. You have 2 boys?
Yes, and my eldest is 16 years old. No.
That's tea for me. Okay? All right. Oh my God, that is amazing. So you're almost out of the high school life.
Yes.
That is great.
For that one. The other one is about 11, so I'll be there for a little bit longer. But it has been such a journey just seeing them grow. And motherhood is, aside from entrepreneurship, it's the one thing that has stretched me the most, that has expanded me the most, and I'm so grateful for that. Mm-hmm. I am a friend. I'm a little sister. I'm the baby sister. Yes, I'm very annoying. I take my job as a little sister very seriously. And let's see, I am a lover of all things positive and anything that has to do with supporting women, women tapping into their full selves and actually going for whatever it is they want to accomplish in life. So you'll see me on social media always posting empowerment stuff, always breathing life into somebody, because if a woman did not do that for me, I would not be where I'm sitting right now today.
I like that. And by the way, this is a pronoun that we need to add on the list of all pronouns. She is limitless. I mean, limitless. Okay.
Limitless.
So this is what she goes by, and it is so great to even know that you have two boys because you are a boy's mom, just like myself.
Yes.
I mean, how do you feel? I'm just gonna tap into that a little bit because again, raising boys in America, it is not something that is
Yeah.
easy. You know, and also we are praying moms too, and you know we gotta put Team Jesus first in everything.
Yeah.
But how do you feel every single day? Like, you know, them waking up, going to school, you know, interacting with different kids, because that was one of the things I talked about earlier, you know, like school being open again.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the whole process?
It's a delicate balance for me because I cannot claim to be a person of faith for me to operate from a place of fear when it comes to my kids.
Yes, I like that.
Early on, when I first became a mom, and I was 21 years old, I got married at 20, had him at 21. I used to have those moments where I would wake up in the middle of the night to go check to make sure he's breathing.
Wow.
It's the weirdest thing. And I quickly learned, like, okay, you cannot be watching him 24/7. So you might as well trust the one who made him to do that. So it's the same thing that I try to apply every year when school starts. I do experience that, okay, they're going to be out of my sight for a certain amount of time.
Hours, yeah.
Yes. And I'm like, the way the system is these days, with what's been going on with schools, the level of insecurity that there is.
Yes.
And I do have moments where I flash and put myself in certain situations. I imagine the worst. That's one thing about me. I don't shy away from imagining
And
the
it's
worst.
the human side of us, and it's normal.
Yes.
Yes.
I imagine the worst, and I'm like, okay, what do I need to teach them? How do I prepare them? And it really does something to a mom where you have to have certain conversations with your kids in places where they're supposed to be enlightened, protected, safe, but that's not the case. So I prepare them to the best of my abilities, both spiritually and emotionally, intellectually, and then the rest is up to God.
Okay, so you guys don't understand. Do you see the alignment? And I promise you, this question just came out of nowhere.
Oh.
Earlier, I literally was having that conversation. I said it is very important as a parent. You know, education starts from home first,
Right.
because growing up Haitians, that's what we knew. You know, our parents, they have to educate us first, and then the school, they do the rest as far as, you know, learning the materials.
It's an
And I
extension.
said that, you know, even for those who do not believe in prayers, because again, you can't force that onto someone else.
Right.
But words of affirmation is so important, you know, to tell your kids.
Yes.
Oh, I'm loving this already. Okay. So
We're
where,
right here.
I know. Where in Haiti are you from? Like background wise, your parents, talk to
Oh,
me.
wow. I don't think I've ever gotten this question in an interview before.
I want to know
How
because
exciting.
I have a reason why I ask. So tell me.
Can I just say, also, this is the first time I have been interviewed by any Haitian outlet.
Really?
Ever. So,
Hey, look at that. Gade. Listen.
yes.
Listen. This is good.
It's happening. And I'm like, I've been interviewed by so many different publications. I'm like, okay,
Wow.
so that's why I've never gotten the question, because they don't
is
know what to ask.
amazing.
Anyway, so I was born and raised Port-au-Prince.
Okay.
Right? Started out in Fontamara,
Oh, nice.
next to Matissan.
Yes.
And then my family eventually moved to Mariani, I believe, and then Pernier.
Mm-hmm,
Right. But I had this super sheltered upbringing. L'école Caïmé,
Yes.
CIM.
Yes. I know that all too well.
Yes.
Yes.
So I was in this pink bubble, raised by a single mother who was, when they say l'école, l'église, la caille, dame missionnaire,
That's
everything.
it. That's it.
I was 8 years old going to La Montagne, praying prayers I had no idea I needed to pray, because what problems did I have that I had to be on my face on the sack at La Montagne for? But here I am doing it. But I am so grateful for that, because when I transitioned to the USA as an immigrant, man, did that sustain me.
Yeah.
Because those values that my mom instilled in me, because, you know, when I came here, I was not living with a parent. So essentially, I was parentless here. And eventually, I became homeless here, because there was no one to take care of us. And I was at the mercy of my community, who took an interest and cared.
Wow.
So early on, I was 16, 17, working to pay my bills, keeping myself in school. And it was those things that my mother instilled in me from when I was 13, 0 to 13, that now I'm 16, 17 on my own here. That's like, okay, she trained me to be spiritually sound, to not be afraid, to not fear anything, and to go to God and to be a firm jump. So I took that on, and I've been riding that wave ever since.
Listen to me. Like everything that she's saying, I kid you not. It's like as she's talking, I can envision like growing up back home and
Yeah.
seeing everything that you're talking about. Because when I tell you growing up in the Caribbean, it does something to us. And
Yeah.
it's in a positive way, the most positive way I can tell you guys. No judgment to however you choose to raise your kids here, but I am telling you, if half of the things that we learned back home and half of the ways that we were able to raise kids back home were allowed, if we were to say here,
Right.
honestly, a lot of those kids would not be as a little
Yeah.
bit misbehaved, if I were to use
Yeah.
the right
It's
word,
more
as
straight
they
and
are now.
narrow. Yeah.
Because back home is more strict. Back
Oh,
home,
they don't
when you
play.
said the l'école, l'église, la caille, meaning that school, church, and home, that's what we were doing. Like, we
Yes.
were not out in those streets like 15, 16,
Yeah.
the way I see those kids sneaking out and partying. No.
Ooh,
The first of all,
child.
where are you going to sneak out to? With who? With who?
They put a healthy fear in us. I'll tell you that. It's like,
With who? So now, okay, let's talk about the hair care journey. How did you get that started? Because you said something earlier that really caught my attention. You said your mom instilled something in you ever since you were a kid.
yeah.
Did you feel like that really helped with that journey? But answer the first part
Oh,
first.
gosh,
How
yes.
did you get started with the hair care?
So, Curls Dynasty was born out of my own frustrations with my hair. And I always say I did not set out to create a hair care brand at all. I had thought about having business in the past, but more like a beauty supply store type of thing, right? But when I came here, the choice was made for me for my hair to be relaxed.
Okay.
At first, I loved it. It was great. I looked amazing. My hair was flowing. And then over the years, womp, 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 womp. It was breaking. It was just very sad. And I had one last relaxer, October 2011. I will
Oh,
never
you
forget.
even remember the year and the month.
Listen, honey, I was badly burned.
Wow.
And from that point, I said, okay, I can no longer subject myself to this chemical process every 6 to 8 weeks. But I don't know what my natural texture looks like. I don't remember. I've never had to take care of it myself. So it was through a process of Googling, searching, YouTubing information. What does my hair like? What would it make to make it? What would it take to make it grow faster? That I started putting things together at home for myself, right? And eventually, at the time I was working at Women in Distress, I was a victims advocate there.
Okay.
And one of my coworkers, I will never forget her, Crystal. She was my first customer.
Wow.
She was the first person to say, "Hey, your hair looks great. What are you doing?" And I explained to her, like, we had a whole girl talk.
Nice.
And at the end, she was like, "Make me a bottle. I'll give you $10." I was like, "What?" Yes. So I made Crystal a bottle for $10. Crystal told her mom, who wanted a bottle, and then it just kind of
Wow. It started
this
growing
way.
from there.
Right. And as it relates to my mother, beauty was always a thing.
Okay.
So Haitian moms, a lot of them, most of them are very coquette.
The zuzou. It's the zuzou.
It's
Yeah, the
just,
bougie.
you know. So my mom would make jus carotte, and with the mask, she'd always put it on her face for mask, etc. So it was like, okay, I always cared about beauty. She always taught me to present myself a certain way. So as people started to discover my little oil mix, and they were having questions, and then one day somebody said, "Do you have a shampoo?"
Okay.
I was like,
okay.
the fact that somebody could ask me if I have a shampoo is because they think I can have a shampoo. It's
Exactly.
possible to make a shampoo.
Exactly.
So I went to Google. I said, so I made a shampoo, and I created something else that just took care of another problem that I had. And then
Okay.
along the way, other women, it resonated with them. So my mom taught me to rise to the occasion, to face challenges head on, and to always look for the best, not only for myself, but other people, to relate to people. My mom loved people. I'm talking about somebody who was in the USA for like a couple of years, and when she passed, funeral was packed.
She
I'm
passed
like-
here in the States or back home? Here in the States.
Yes.
Okay.
And I was like, who are these people? And they all had something to
Let
say.
me guess. Her church people the most. Yes. Yes.
So that is the legacy of
Okay.
faith and of loving people, and that's how that played into Curls Dynasty, coming up with me.
That's good. That's good. And when she passed, did that also give you more of a strength to go harder?
Hold on
Because
now.
again, I know you said again she instilled that in you.
Yes.
So how? Yeah.
After my mom passed, her name was Erdi. Iod. I started calling myself Erdi 2.0 because there is no femme jam like her. There was nobody as savvy, as keef with life like her. And I said, if I could be anything, Lord, let me be a fraction
Of what she was.
goodness.
That's amazing.
So, okay, we're having a moment.
It's okay. It's okay. And I'm loving
We're
this.
having a
Oh my
moment.
God.
But you are asking all the right questions.
Oh my God.
You were born for this, okay?
Wish I receive it. Gade, Gade, let me tell you, I received
What
this.
up, Oprah?
Oprah 2.0. Okay. Yeah. Oprah 2.0.
Oh, well, Mimi 1.0. 'Cause,
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now let's get started with you're getting the clientele, and then now your brand is at Target.
Ooh.
Your brand is at Walmart. Walk us through the process of branding yourself there because, again, it is many women like you that are, they're trying to thrive there. And I know it's
Yeah.
not easy.
Oh, girl, understatement.
Like, please talk to us because I know that this must have been a proud moment. And I didn't even know you like that. As a Haitian woman, as a Black woman, honestly, I kid you not, I screamed.
Oh.
No, I promise you that day I would never forget. I was just like, oh my God,
Oh,
she's
gosh.
at Target. Like,
Yes.
I screamed. I am so proud of you. And I say that genuinely.
Oh, thank
I am
you.
so freaking proud of you. And excuse me for saying that I have to.
Okay. You're
Because
gonna make me cry. Don't do that.
Please keep doing what you're doing. But honestly, let us know like what it took for you to brand yourself there. And when you're there and where you are right now, like how's the process? Let us know more. Like so people can understand, it didn't just happen.
Yes.
Go
It
ahead.
did not.
Yeah.
The process.
Yes.
When they say trust the process was ghetto.
I believe you. I believe you.
So, and I was just speaking to someone earlier, kind of like going back to what it took to like putting products in jars, using spoons at home, and then using a manual machine in the warehouse. It was a long road, but what it took for me to brand myself is what you're seeing now: authenticity, just showing up as who I am with the message that I had. It wasn't perfect, but it was relatable. It wasn't perfect, but it was real and it was mine. And it was the same for a lot of other women who were trying to rediscover their natural hair and that needed solutions. So every day I would show up as like, hey, I'm transitioning because I'm too chicken to do the big chop. And here's how I styled it today. Hit or miss. What are we doing? And here's how I use this oil. So women would ask questions and I would answer to the best of my abilities, not from a place of being an expert at the time, but just from a place of girl next door, talk to me, what are we doing? So eventually, as I took things from selling around me in the neighborhood, I was like, oh, well, I can't meet everybody around the block. I need to put this online so I can ship it to people. I went to Etsy. It was great. Did that on Etsy. And then somebody from Israel placed an order, and I was like,
Whoa.
how do you even know about me? And then somebody from Germany placed an order. I was like, hold on, wait a minute. I need an actual website. I need to really take this as serious as I could.
Yes.
Yes. And that is why this is where I'm like, okay, we need to pause and give God the praise and the glory he deserves, because there are people who are coming alongside me at that point in time that I don't even, where they came from. I don't know. So around August 2018, I believe, I met someone who was in the sales space.
Okay.
This is the people that have the contacts with the major national retailers.
Wow.
And someone put me in contact with that group of salespeople. And I'm like, this is my vision. This is what I would love to do. How do I do it? Not being afraid, just connecting and speaking my truth. And then they took one look at the product and say, oh, no, baby, you're not ready. you got to be receptive. You got to be willing to listen to those who are experts in things that you're not
But
expert
how did you
at.
feel at that moment, though? Did you feel like, because again, this is something you've been working on for a long time. Was there some sort of hurt? Was there some sort of disappointment there?
Not even.
Wow.
It was like, okay, because she wasn't wrong.
Okay.
And this is someone who came with receipts.
Wow.
So if I wanted to reach the point that she has gotten other people to, I just had to warm it up and just do what needed to be done. So it wasn't that my product was bad. She acknowledged that it's good and I can see the following.
Yes.
I can see the track record.
Yes.
However, if you want to stand out on that shelf in a much bigger space and be part of their brand, because when a major retailer brings you in, you become part of their brand
Yes.
too.
Yes.
And you have to fit the mold. So she was like, with this packaging, honey, they will not even look at you. And you need to fix that. So I was like, okay, how do I fix that? Who do I need to bring around? What would I need to do? How much would it cost? So at every step, I was being presented a problem that was going to take me to the next level if I solve it. And that's really what it takes in entrepreneurship. You are a problem solver as a business owner.
Yes.
And if you're going to cry and whine about it, and sometimes it's okay, you can cry.
Yes, yes,
but you
absolutely.
have to be able to be flexible and keep on going. That's what makes or breaks most businesses. So on the journey to Target, Target was the first retailer.
Yes.
And then came Walmart.
Yes.
And then came Kroger stores.
Oh
and
my
then came
God.
international retailers. But the journey, it stretched me to the max because I did not know what I didn't know. And the process of learning and growing through the pains was painful.
That is amazing. Oh my goodness. And look at you now.
Oh, but so rewarding.
Look at you now.
Yes.
How do you feel?
I feel, gosh, that's a very real question. Oh, my Lord. I feel enlightened.
That's good.
I feel blessed.
That's good.
Because entrepreneurship has changed my brain chemistry. I don't know if that makes sense. It changes the way you think. It changes how you approach things, how you see people.
Yes.
And I always liked people, but dealing with my customers was just something else. There was a love there. There's a care there.
Yes, yes, yes.
And that's another thing that helped propel Curls Dynasty, because if you don't love on people, how they feel is what make them come back. And I'm like, if you don't buy a thing.
And then you can always tell when the chemistry is there. You can always tell when the passion is there.
Yes.
Because the customers, as they're purchasing from you, they're reading your body language.
Oh, yes.
They're reading and paying attention to everything you're saying.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to sell a product, and it's another thing to sell it, but then showing why you're selling it.
Yes.
You know, showing that passion that you have as you're selling it to that person.
Yeah.
Because sometimes anybody can just have a product or a brand, they can sell it. But are you just selling it to make money, or is there more?
It was personal.
So
and
it was
people can
personal.
tell. Yes. And I think a lot of brands these days, they skip certain steps in having a brand mission, vision, and core values. These are guiding pillars for you as you evolve in business. You can always go, that's the roadmap.
So then what would you tell someone who, especially nowadays, this year has been tough on a lot of people because the economy has been, it's just been ghetto. Let's use that word again. Yes, it's been super ghetto
And we
this
all
year.
feel it, yes.
And a lot of people have felt it this year. And how do you approach that situation if someone comes to you and said, you know what, I have that business idea. I've been having it for many years, but it's just like this year, I really want to go forth with it, but it's been tough. And I also have this fear, you know, because I don't know whether it's going to succeed. I don't know if people are going to accept it, because we've all been there.
Yeah.
What would you tell that person? Because fear, although we have faith, but sometimes fear
It's real.
always
It's
try to
human.
overcome the faith that we have.
Yes.
But giving that again, from going through everything that you went through, and you had such an amazing, supportive mom that instilled that in you. What would you tell that person?
For anyone who's looking to start and hesitating and facing all of these questions and self-doubts, this is going to sound super simplistic, but it really is, it's just reality. Start. Because here's the thing, you are speaking to someone, I'll show you the picture. When I started with Curls Dynasty, now I can look back and be embarrassed about it, but I'm not, honestly, because they say your first product is always supposed to embarrass you, but that's where you see the growth. It was a naked bottle. There was no label on it, no nothing. You know
It's
what I'm
actually
saying?
your testimony. That's what it is. It's pure testimony right
You
there.
start.
Yes.
And a lot of people, the fear that they have is like that they won't be good enough, that it's not perfect.
Yes.
But it's not supposed to be perfect, because if you start at perfect, where else do you go?
Exactly.
You already up there. And the entire thing about being a business owner, a brand owner, is the journey.
Yes.
It's how you grow through it. And if you start out perfect, you're going to cheat yourself out of so many lessons. And the lessons are the things that refine you and make you better over time. I would not change a thing for what I went through. And now I can use these to help somebody else. It's like I meet so many people. How do I grow it? It's really hard. What do I do? Start and show up every day, especially when it's hard. And when you show up authentically.
Yes.
During COVID, things got really bad for the company, for a lot of other businesses. And I was still trying to make sales because, hello, we got to keep going.
We got to pay the bills. We
Hello.
still got bills to pay.
Yeah, and people were at home and they needed this
Yes,
product.
yes.
But now I'm facing this fear that the products did not look like what the customers were used to, because the clear plastic jars and bottles I was using, they were out of stock worldwide.
Wow.
So now I only have brown bottles, blue bottles in jars. And I'm like, okay, I was terrified, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do what I always did. I'm going to be me. I'm going to be real. I email the customers. I say, look, y'all want the product or you care more about the jars? Product's the same, jars different. Do you want the product or not?
Yes. Yes.
So I'm like, okay. I pivoted and used
Yes.
those containers.
And it still worked.
It worked.
Yes.
Because the people, they want communication.
Yes. Yes.
Show up, start, good or bad. Just keep going, because I promise you, any day you show up, even when things really suck, that's the progress you're making versus
Yes.
if you stopped or didn't start at all.
Yes.
Energy in motion stays in motion, and that's not a thing there's no work that's not rewarded sooner or later. And if you stop showing up, that's the only way you guarantee you stop your results.
You hear that, everybody? Make sure you start, okay? It's just one word. It is simple. Make sure you start. So now I only have one more question, but then he has two. That's it. Oh, you and your girl, I'm having fun too. Okay, so generational curses and generational breakthroughs. This is something that being, growing up in the Caribbean, we dealt with a lot of that. Your business, do you feel like it's you breaking a lot of generational curses as it's growing? Whether it's for you, whether it's for your kids, whether it's for your sisters, is there some sort of like generational that you're breaking there because you don't want this? So you're paving the way. Talk to me about that.
Oh my God, we just went deep.
We're going deeper.
Let me tell you something. I understand why I'm here right now because of this question. Because there was a season in my life, and I want to be very real about this. After the brand done exploded, it's everywhere. There's this part of you after you work for so long. It's like, I got this. I did that.
Yeah.
Started showing out a little bit. The Lord say, hey. And I could not, it took me a minute to realize what was happening. But what he was doing was reminding me, he's like, it's much deeper than this. Like, there's much more I have for you. And it's about who you are in me. That's the reason. All of that is because of the purpose.
So he gave it and he could take it away in like a few minutes.
In a season where he isolated me and I was receiving, it was just praying, meditating, and worshiping. And as I started to uncover the nature of God as a father, as a provider, and everything that he meant for me to have, in that generations before tapped into it but could never cross the threshold of these things. And he was like, I have called you repairer of the breach. And when I first heard that, I have goosebumps. I was like, what
Me
does
too.
that mean, Lord?
Me too.
And I'm like, what does that even mean? Because I had never heard that term before.
Wow.
And it is in the Bible. So I started to dig deeper. And I was learning things about standing in the gap, about generational curses. And around that time, once you get closer to the source, you start to be revealed as seen or as you are in the source.
Yes.
So I started to have, y'all don't come for me after this, dreams and visions. And I was seeing things that happened in my family generations back that I had no business knowing. Because remember, I grew up in Port-au-Prince. I had barely ever been in Adeo. But I could clearly see things in places that I've never been. From my very analytical, logical numbers brain, I struggled because I'm like, what is this? It makes no sense.
Wow.
It was very spiritual. So God was, when you speak about generational curses, it is very real. God was molding me and putting me in a position where I was like, I was the break in between. Not only financially, economically, but spiritually. Because I am a first generation anything and everything for my family on both sides, mother and father. My children are first generation born here. And as far as business goes, I am the first to have crossed a certain threshold in many aspects of what it is.
Yes.
And that comes with a lot of responsibility. That comes with a lot of spiritual warfare. For those who say prior, it will not come to pass. But I had to learn to speak God's word over myself, that where it says there's a casting down, for me there's a lifting up. I am the head and not the tail. I am all of these. I'm not about to preach up in here.
It's okay. Listen, it's okay. Listen, we can preach. We can do it all. It's okay. Go ahead.
I was led to acknowledge and own certain things that my mother was able to do, how she was novice babies in the spirit. And then when she passed, it was like, okay, the mental. And it's like, okay, what are you going to do? Because those things that, as she was there spiritually, she was shielding us from, after she was gone, it was open season on me and my sister. I have, as a Haitian American who's been here for the majority of my life, I was so surprised because I had heard stories, but now I was like, what is this? Who is this? Why is it happening? And quickly, I had to find that refuge my mom taught me that the Lord is, and really find refuge in God and really arm myself, take up the spirit, that armor, and to really be able to go to bat. And I said, oh, it happened with my mother. It will not happen with me. It will not happen with my children. So then I learned to stand in the gap, and I learned to declare certain things, because if we are made in the image of God, that means what we speak, we can materialize.
Yes.
We can create things out of what we say.
Yes.
So I learned to speak over my children. I learned to speak over myself, and I learned to renounce and denounce whatever happened in the bloodline prior. And I say it stops with me. And from this point on, there's no curses. There are only blessings over myself and everyone who comes from me. So, girl, let me tell you, this question right here, and I would encourage everyone, anyone who actually has a dream and a goal to put out something into the world, you have got to know, once you reach a certain level of success, you will have a choice. Everything is sponsored by something in the spirit.
If you know, you know. If you understand, you understand. So now, listen, she said a whole mouthful.
I am
so
if
you understand, you understand.
Decide this day.
Decide this day what you want and what direction that you want with your business.
Yes.
One final thing. Let us know about your social media if we are to follow you.
Let's see. My personal IG is Nickie New, Nickienou. And Curls Dynasty, everywhere, anywhere at Curls Dynasty, you'll find it. But now we also have Ebol Beauty. You can find Ebol on Instagram, IBOL Beauty. And so Curls Dynasty is products and Ebol is the service side. And over the years, my customers at Curls Dynasty would always ask if I know any stylists, if I do hair, if I can refer them. And it's just, again, another challenge. Rising to the occasion.
Baby.
Yes. So anyone in South Florida who wants to get their hair slayed, braids, wigs, weaves, natural hair, wash and go, finger coils, we do it all, and it's 24/7 service.
Oh, even better. So that means if you have a quick run to do, you have somewhere to go.
Yes, very convenient, especially for the moms out there.
Yes, she got you covered. Thank you so much. And let me just tell you guys, the last question was not part of my question list.
Ooh, child.
And I don't know again why I asked it, but it came to me to ask, and I'm glad I did. Because
Thank
those
you.
are conversations that I feel like we need to have. Those are things that we need to talk about,
Yes.
especially as business owners. We can sit down and talk about branding all day. We can sit down and talk about uplifting each other, but there's so much more that goes on as a business owner. We don't
Yeah.
talk enough about the spiritual warfare. We don't talk enough about everything that we go through behind the scenes, because it is a lot that you go through, as a
Yeah.
business owner. And it's not just physical, it's also
Yes.
spiritual. So
Yes.
I'm really glad that we were able to basically touch on everything, whether it was like, the branding,
Yeah.
the spiritual, everything, and, even family wise. So I'm really
Yeah.
glad that we had a chance to sit down and talk about everything. And the way that the connection, oh my God, Nickie, like you don't understand the conversation I had before I actually talked to you. Like,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
guys, this is how you know like a conversation or an interview was meant to happen. I'm
Aw.
so thankful to have you. Like, honestly, keep doing what you're doing. Grow with the business,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
always put God first, as you're already doing with your
Yeah.
business. Be sure to follow her, Nickie New, or Curls Dynasty, and her brand new venture, which is Ibol, right?
Ibol.
Ibol.
Yes.
Okay. So please, very convenient, like she said, for the moms. If you have time, or if you don't have time, you need your hair done, just go to her. She
Yes.
got you. She got you.
Got you, boo.
Stay tuned. We have more coming your way. Okay, y'all. I don't know if you guys are excited as I am right now. I don't know if you guys noticed the shift in the room and how the conversation was just flowing. When I tell you, this was, again, being intentional about what you're doing. Like, this was just beautiful. Thanks again to Nickie for being here, owner of Curls Dynasty. The conversation was giving everything that it needed to give, okay? So stay tuned for so much more we have for you. Thank you to everyone who has been supporting us. Thank you to Tawan behind the scene. Thank you to Nayu for the makeup. Thank you to Ben Realty. We appreciate all the support that we've been getting. Stay tuned for more episode of Coffee Talk with Mimi. Bye.